Hello, welcome to episode 399. Ooh, almost 400. We're going to make a water pipe valve. Okay, this was a request or suggestion by, well, I don't know how to pronounce the full name, so I'm just going to shorten it to Mix. And basically what we've got is I'm going to pretend that lightning rods are pipes, and we have a little water valve on the end. We can see that this one's closed at the moment, but what we can do is we can open it and then the water's going to start coming out. So we're changing a score. So this has a state, and I've just done as an example, if the state is on, then we'll pull water out here. You can do whatever you like, and we can turn it back off again. And we can also, we could tag any entity whose tag equals valve input. So this is the interaction entity, and I could add locked to it. Now it's locked. So maybe you wanted to stop the player coming straight here and opening it. Maybe they have to do something else first. Maybe they have to get some grease, and they have to throw grease onto it before they can open it. And then when they throw the grease on, you can just do remove the lock tag, and then they can use it again. Cool. There we go. We're in 1.21, and that's what we're going to be making. Okay, so let's get on and make it now. Okay, today we only need one scoreboard objective, and that's going to save the state of whether the valve is on or off. Set up. Scoreboard objectives, add, I just call it state, dummy. Okay, and let's make sure we create it. Right, we're going to want a place egg and a remove egg. If you wanted, you could skip ahead, because again, the most important thing about this is the interaction entity that we're going to be clicking on. The rest is just going to be decoration, really. So let's give egg place, and we will give nearest player a slime spawn egg or bomb. I'm just going to put the important stuff in the command and the description. If there's enough space, because you can only have 5,000 characters, I'll put a name as well. Entity data, but don't forget you've got sites like MC Stacker, which is fantastic for creating things like this. ID. Let's give it some ID. I want it to be a marker, so we normally would use the namespace. I say normally. I think it's probably good practice to use the namespace. Minecraft marker. I usually don't put it in, but that's me being lazy. Okay, so it's probably better to use the namespace. I'm being lazy and saving space in the commands in the description. And we'll give this some tags as well. Tags. Oh, look, now I've come outside of the entity data. I don't want that. I want to be still inside entity data. There we go. Tags. And we'll just give it one tag, and we'll say valve place. Okay, done. That's going to give us the placing egg. Let's get one for ourselves. Now let's make the removing egg. I'm just going to copy that, control middle mouse, pop it down, stick a sign on it, give egg, remove. And I'll change the egg type, so at least we've got different colours if we haven't got different names. So Strider, still going to be a marker. Valve place, no, it will be valve remove. And I'll give it the valve tag so it can remove itself at the same time as it removes everything else. Okay, done. Let's have one of them. Let's put them next to each other. In fact, let's get rid of that. We don't need it anymore. Right, let's make a controller to place this thing. Now, a lot of this is just fiddling with transformation values. I've done that already, so I know what the values are, which should make this a little bit quicker. So we're going to execute. Well, we shouldn't type the command on the side. This is a controller to place. Let's actually type the command inside the command block, because I believe that would be helpful. Let's execute at any entity whose type equals marker. So again here, namespace, Minecraft marker. And we'll say tag equals valve place. It takes me a long time to type that word. We will run summon an interaction at the coordinates, and I want to lift the interaction up a little bit, 0.6. Okay, let's open and close. Let's give it some information. Tags. Give it 2 tags. So everything to do with this valve is going to be tagged with valve, so I can target them all at the same time for removing it. And this will be the valve. What on earth was that spelling? This will be the valve input. So that seems okay. Let's come out of tags. Let's give it a width. I think I decided on about 0.8. Let's give it a height. 0.45. If I click on it, I want my arm to move, so we'll do response true. And we're going to need some passages for the decoration. Open and close. Okay, let's put one fake passenger in there now. I'm going to make myself a passenger template. Done. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get myself a lightning rod. Can I just do rod? Yeah, there we go. I'm going to pretend that these are the water pipes. And I'm going to place my valve here. So let's say I've got a water pipe going into the valve and coming out, and I want my water pipe, my valve to connect to these. That way we don't have to do anything else. We can just put these pipes around the place and just say, hey, look, these are the water pipes. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to get a little temporary clipboard here, and I'm going to make myself a passenger template. We don't need a button. Now the problem with typing in here is it's not going to correct us if we make any mistakes, so we better be careful. So my passenger template. Passenger, open and close. Okay, so that open and close curly brackets there is going to equate to this one here. Done. Right, what do we want in there? Right, let's tag it. So let's say tags. Everything's going to have 2 tags. 1, 2. They'll all be tagged with valve, and then they'll have valve something else as well. So we'll put valve, and we'll leave that there for the next word because this is the template. What do I want them to be? Well, they're all going to be block displays, I think. So we'll say ID block display. Block state. Well, we're going to have 4 passengers, and 3 of them are going to be lightning rods. So I might as well put lightning rod in here for the block state. Block state, open and close, name, lightning rod. Let's come out of the block state. There we go. And some transformation information. Transformation. Open and close curlies. Let's do the old left rotation. It's all going to be defaults. 0F, 0. Is that a... There we go. I think I did a full stop. 1F. We'll copy all the way up to the word left. Copy. And then we'll have the right paste rotation. We'll have scale. Again, we're just going to do defaults for now. This is just the template. And translation. And defaults again. Okay, so that should be our default passenger. I'm going to copy that. Copy. Done. And I'm going to go over to my controller for placing. So I want a piece of pipe to come from this side to the middle, piece of pipe to come from this side to the middle, and a piece of pipe to go up. So that's 3 block displays I need. That's 3 passengers. And then I want a handle on top. So I've got 4 passengers. So let's do 1 passenger. Make sure we do, comma, 2 passengers, 3 passengers, 4 passengers. Okay, let's do the first one. So we'll take out these and we'll paste in our template. Let's do some editing. So this is, let's say, we'll do the horizontal pipes first. So this will be pipe 1. So let's go to our tag. Here's our tag. Valve and valve pipe 1. That'll do. Still going to be a block display, still going to be a lightning rod. We are going to have a bit of rotation. So let's do the rotation first. I'm going to change the rotation style to axis. So we'll open and close that. We'll say axis. Not F, not F, not F. Put in the defaults. Angle 1.57, I believe. And I want to rotate it around the Z. Okay, so that's the left rotation change. Right rotation is staying the same. Scale, we're going to change. On the X, we will have 1. Let's have 0.5 on the Y. Yes, because we're going to rotate it. So we want it to be shorter, and we're going to rotate it. So yeah, okay, that's right. And our translation, I want to bring it down a bit. So minus 0.6. Again, these values I've already worked out. Minus 0.5. It's just playing around, getting what you want, really. Let's put a little kill egg on the end of this. Kill any entity whose, this is type equals marker, tag equals valve place, I believe we called it. Okay, so that'll get rid of the egg. Make sure it is chain and always active. You are going to be repeating. Let's turn you on. F3D, click the chat. Let's make ourselves a temporary removal. Temporary remove. We don't need the coordinates of that block. We'll just kill any entity whose tag equals valve. Okay, that's our temporary removal. Let's try this egg, see what we get. Okay, so we've got one side. Nice. Cool. Let's remove that. Let's do our next passenger. So we'll replace passenger number 2 and paste in our passenger template. So the last one was pipe 1. Let's give this a different name. Let's call it, here we go, into the tags. Let's call it valve pipe 02 is going to make sense. Still going to be a block display, still going to be a lightning rod. We're going to change its rotation though. Let's change this to axis style. So open and close curlies instead of square, axis, open and close square, angle 1.57. Now last time we did 0F, 0F, 1F. This time I'm just going to say -1 there. -1. Right rotation staying the same. Scale. So we scaled it down on the Y, 0.5. And our translation. Let's see, it will be 0.4 because we've twisted it around, so the translation is going to be a little bit different. This will still be -0.5 though. Okay, so we've got 2 passengers. Let's test that. Cool. So now we're going to have a little up pipe. So let's replace number 3 with our passenger template. What shall I call this? Let's just call it up pipe. Why not? I don't think we actually ever use these tags. Again, I do tag everything. I don't think it's going to cause a problem if everything has an extra 1 tag. Valve up pipe. Lightning rod. It's still going to be a lightning rod. Left rotation. We're not going to change the rotation this time because we just want a pipe that's sticking up in the air. Okay. But I do want to change its scale, so I want it to be a bit smaller, so we'll just do 0.5. And our translation, well, we want it centered, so our scale is 1. So -0.5, that's half of 1. Well, 0.5 is half of 1, and then we put the minus on. And the same for Z. Okay, and I think we're going to have to move it a little bit here as well, -0.05. Let's take it down slightly. Done. Let's try it with this passenger. Cool. Now we've got cool little pipe system, and we're just going to pop a handle on top, something we can spin around. Obviously, we don't really have any circles. It is Minecraft. I think we know there's not many circles. But I found something that looks pretty good, actually, to be honest. And we're just going to use the copper trapdoor. So let's paste in our passenger template. We'll call this, or we'll tag it rather, because we're not changing its name. We'll call this the valve handle. Now that one we are going to reference later, because we're going to want to turn this thing around. It's not going to be a lightning rod. It's going to be, it's going to be a waxed copper trapdoor. That's it. We want waxed. A waxed copper trapdoor. I'm not going to rotate it in any way. I'm going to make it a bit smaller than a block though. Not much. Let's say 0.8. I think we'll just do that for all of them. 0.8. And our translation. Now I want it centered, so I should. Do I have to do minus 0.4 here? I think I probably do minus 0.4 here, because that is half of 0.8 plus the minus. And its translation is going to be a strange number, 0.6. Now that's going to, I think, bring it up exactly in line with the block, but I want it to be a little bit higher. So let's do 6.1. And this thing is going to turn, so I want to give it an interpolation duration. So let's come out of translation. Let's come out of transformation. And we're still inside the passenger. So in here, interpolation, duration, 20. So it'll take 20 ticks. When I data merge in some new stuff, it'll take 20 ticks to display it as an animation. Done. Let's see what we get. Okay, you're far too high. I did not expect you to be that high. Why are you so high when no one else is? Okay, well, we'll just get rid of that. Let's have a look at what we've done. Now, I think I've copied my values correctly. So what we've got here is a case of I've made a mistake. So we'll just have to make it up on the fly. So 0.61, that's our translation. That's too high. So let's just bring it down a bit. Let's go for, oh, I don't know, 0.4. Let's see what that does. Still too high. Let's bring it down a bit more. What should we do? 0.3? 0.3. Oh, okay. So 0.3 seems okay, but we've got some Z fighting there. And let's say this is open. So we want the thing to be up. Let's take it down so we don't get the Z fighting. And let's have a little nubbin on top as well. So let's go 0.28. See what that does. All right, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a bigger nub at the top. Let's just go all the way down to 0.25. Okay, that looks all right. That'll do. You can play with it as much as you like. That's enough for me. Cool. So F3B, do we have an interaction entity? We do. Is the interaction entity a bit higher than a block? Yes. So, because what we're going to do, we can walk through this. Now, you might want that, in which case, fine. But I'm going to put a barrier block there. So what I need is the interaction entity to stick out above the barrier block. Otherwise, we won't be able to interact with it. We'll just be poking the barrier block, which won't do anything. So placing, I would say, looks done. Let's set the barrier there as well. So let's take this block here, control middle mouse, and put that onto the end. You're still working, okay. And we'll just execute at any entity whose type equals marker, tag equals valve place. And we'll just do run set block, those coordinates, a barrier. Okay, Done. So now if I put one down, there we've got our barrier. And you can see it pokes out just over the top. So we're not going to actually be able to interact with the side because we'd be hitting the barrier, but we can interact with the top. So that's cool. Let's get the coordinates of this block. In fact, let's just do F3I. Let's come here to our kill. Oh, look, you're facing the wrong way. We'll fix you in a minute. Let's paste in what we just copied with F3I. So all I really wanted was the set block and coordinates, and I'm going to change it to air. Done. Let's copy you. Let's copy that sign. And let's put you back in. Okay, so that should get rid of that. All gone. Okay. Boink, boink, boink. Right, next, let's do a remove. Then we don't have to use our temporary thing anymore. So let's do a controller to remove it. This one would be much easier. We will just execute at any entity, type equals marker, tag equals valve remove, and we're going to slap this on top of the barrier. So we'll say run set block, those coordinates, but one beneath you, air. Done. I'll grab one of them, and then we'll execute at any entity whose type equals marker, whose tag equals valve remove. We will run kill any entity whose tag equals valve, sort equals nearest, limit equals. So how many have we got? Done. We've got 1, 2, 3 pipes. We've got a trapdoor, so that's 4. We've got the interaction entity, that's 5. And we'll have the egg we're using, so we've got 6. 6. Done. Let's turn that on. So now, if I do it on top, nothing's going to happen because I'm hitting the interaction entity. I just have to do it just off to the side here. There we go. Cool. So we can place it and remove it. Right. Now, let's make a controller. Let's make sure we've activated this. Yeah, we have. Let's do it again just to make sure. Let's do F3B. Okay. Right, so controller for actually using the things. Something the player needs, because the player doesn't need anything yet. Controller. I suppose this is the main controller. We'll just call it controller. Right, first thing. Has it been interacted with it? So does it have a target? If it does have a target, we're going to tag it, and we're going to remove the target. So we're going to make it forget that it's been clicked on, but it will be tagged then. So we'll execute, we'll execute as any entity, type equals interaction, tag equals valve input at yourself, and then we will store success on the entity yourself, and we'll store it into your interaction.player data as an integer, multiply it by 0. So we're going to fill your interaction player data with zeros. That'll make you forget me. On target, so we're only going to do it if someone has interacted with you, as entity. Now we have to do it as entity because when we do on target, we switch to executing as me because I clicked on it. We don't want to execute as me, we want to execute as the interaction entity. Because we are executing at the interaction entity at the moment, we can easily find it again by saying type equals interaction, tag equals valve input, and then we could just say distance equals less than 0.1. Run tag yourself, add, and let's say check me. Hello, I am a valve input that has been interacted with. I've forgotten who interacted with me, but I now need to be checked. That's what it's saying. And we'll say, okay, I'll come along and check you then. We will say, let's put in the ability to lock it as well. Why not? We might as well. Execute as any entity whose type equals interaction, whose tag equals not locked, whose tag equals check me. And then we want to flip its state. So if its state is 0, we want its state to be 1, and its state is 1, we want its state to be 0. So we will store success. Hey, don't do that with my cursor. Store success as a score on yourself into your state score. If score yourself state matches 0. So if it does match 0, we are successful, we store a 1. If it doesn't match 0, we're not successful, we store a 0. So that's going to toggle the state. Done. Let's do a test on that. It'd be nice to know if that's working before we go any further. So here we will remove the check me tag. Type equals interaction, tag equals check me, remove check me. That should be okay. Done. Okay, so that should be working. Let's display our state. Scoreboard objective, set display sidebar state. Got a state of 0. That should be fine. Right, we'll click on him. Got a state of 0. Cool. 1, 0, 1, 0. So when we first put him down, he should have no state at all. Can we get on the block? There we go. He's got no state. And when we first click on it, the state changes to 0. Then it changes to 1. So our first click makes it 0. We want to remember that. No problem. Let's reset him. Have a new one. There we go. So we know the state is changing, and we know the first state changes to 0. Right, so this is temporary. So let's take that off and put it over there somewhere. That's going to go back on the end. Right. If the state is 0, let's do something. And if the state is 1, let's do something else. So let's execute at any entity type equals interaction, tag equals not. Yeah, we'll say tag equals not locked. Tag equals check me, and we'd want to check its state as well. So scores equals state equals 0 as any entity whose type equals, I found a problem, item display. I want an item display for that trapdoor. Done. And I think that trapdoor is a block display. We're going to have to make some changes. Oh, how fun. Okay, I think it's probably best to do the changes first. And that would explain why my heights weren't working. So, I want to change that trapdoor. It was the last thing we put in. Now, the problem with the block display is I can't get it to rotate around its center very well. It seems to work great as rotating as a door from a corner, but doesn't seem to work very well from rotating as a center. So here we have the waxed copper. Yeah. Here's our passenger. Right, let's change this passenger. Valve handle. Okay, I'm going to change it to an item display. Now, item display doesn't have a block state. It has an item. So let's change block state to item. Let's change name to ID. Now, I'd imagine in earlier versions you'd need to put a count, but if you don't put a count in this version, it should default to 1. So I shouldn't need that. Okay. Now we'll leave the rest the same, and I bet it's going to be in the wrong place now. is going to be all off-centered. Yeah, look at him over there, because we've accounted for the fact that the block display, when you summon a block display, it doesn't summon in the middle here. It goes, summons up there. Whereas the item display does summon in the middle. And Minecraft likes to make it easy for you. Let's make them all summon differently and give them horrible, horrible maths to make you do stuff with them. I don't know why they decided to do it that way, but they did. So we better change its translation data. Scale, I still want it to be that scale. But translation, right, we don't need to account for it being off-center, so we'll put these back to 0, because item displays are centered. And it's going to be too low, we can see it's too low, so let's use our original value, which was 6.1, wasn't it? Done. Right, you go away, you little thing, whatever you are. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. That'll do. Right. Back here. So let's go back to the beginning just to refresh what we're doing. We're executing at the interaction that isn't locked, that wants to be checked and has a score of state. So we've clicked on it and the state has changed to 0. As any type item display, so that's going to be our valve handle. In fact, we'll say that as well. We'll say tag equals valve handle, might as well. We'll limit it to 1. We might as well say sort equals nearest 2. And what we're going to do to that handle is we're going to run data merge into an entity s, that handle, and I'm going to merge in some new transformation information. What do I want to merge in? I want to merge in some rotation, I think. Yeah, let's yeah, I want to rotate it. And I think that's it. Actually, we're going to rotate it and I'm going to move it up. I'm going to rotate it and move it up. So we'll say this is open or closed. I don't know. Let's experiment and see what we get. So let's merge in some transformation. Open and close. And I want a bit of rotation. So let's do left rotation. And a value I found here, 0f, 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 1f defaults. And I'm going to change rotation around the y to 2.402. That seems a bit specific. We can. And what it does is it makes it line up nicely on a diagonal. You'll see in a minute. And I'm going to change its translation as well. So let's move that mouse. There we go. Outside of left rotation, but still inside transformation. Translation. I don't want to change it on the X. Let's just put the defaults in first. There we go. I want it to go up. So let's just lift it up a bit. Let's do 0.699. And where do we want its interpolation to start? Remember, we set the interpolation duration to 20, but we'll set a starting point. So that'll be 0. Start interpolation at 0. Oh, I'm kind of feeling a bit happy about it. Let's get you and paste you on the end so we can at least test what we've got so far. Let's clean up. So if I click on it, it should apply those changes over 1 second. Okay, and so that strange number I did makes it here nice and centered on the diagonal. That's why this, where did we, hey, not you, this 2.402, that makes it turn around just so it's a nice centered. I like that. Okay, now we need to be able to make it go back down again. So still got a copy of you there. Yes, we have. Let's take you off the end then. Boom. And let's copy you, control middle mouse, slap you down. This time we're just going to say if state equals 1. And we're going to set it back to the values when we summoned it. And we summoned it with no rotation. So let's remove that rotation. And our translation was for 6.01, I think. There's me saying, oh yes, I've worked out the numbers already. Yes, but can you remember the numbers? That's the question. And let's put this back on the end again. That's not that one. That one. There we go. So now we should be able to make it go up and down. So it can go down, it can go up, down, up. Unless it's locked, let's check that. So let's tag any entity, tag equals valve input, add locked. Now it's locked. And now we can't use it. Cool. Right, now we want a bit of feedback. So let's take away our temporary. Yep, let's go review. Boom. Still got a copy there. Let's add some sound. I think we're going to do 2 sounds. One sound if it opens or closes, and one sound if it's locked. If you want to do a different sound for whether it's opening or closing, you can do the state check. So we can do execute at any entity, type equals, and it's the interaction, tag equals not locked, tag equals check me, run play sound, play sound. I'm going to use block copper door open, and since I see you there, spell that correctly, block copper door open, we'll play it on the blocks channel to all players at those coordinates, full volume. Let's drop the pitch right down to make it last as long as possible, and minimum volume 0. So this will play when its state changes, as long as it's not locked. Now, if you wanted to have 2 different sounds, you could just do in here scores equals state equals 0, and then you could have another command exactly the same, but change that to a 1, and then you'll have a different sound for when it goes up and when it goes down. I'm just going to have the same sound. Okay, that's done. Let's control middle mouse copy that, put it down. And this time I'm going to say, well, if it is locked, then I'm going to play a different sound. Can we zoom along? There we go. And I think the copper trapdoor is a slightly different sound, isn't it? Open, blocks, yeah. Make it a bit quicker. Okay, let's try that. Let's get our tag removal. Pop you back on the end. Get rid of you. Good chunk. Good chunk. We got... I wonder if we should speed up the animation. Let's lock it. Check the lock works. Yeah, got a slightly different sound, so we've got a nice bit of feedback there. Oh, that's not working. Okay, let's remove locked. I think we should speed up that animation. Right, let's kill this one. Boom. And let's go into our passenger, and here we go. Interpolation duration. It's currently taking a second. If we change that to 10, it's going to take half a second. Now it's going to turn quicker. Now the sound sort of fits the amount of time it takes to animate. I think I prefer that. Cool. Okay. So we have a valve which we can, when it's down, we're going to say that's locked. Maybe it pushes a little pin down into the pipe. And when it's up, we can say that's open. I don't know. The choice is yours. You can do it either way. But we're changing a state. So we could do something based on that state. Anything you like. I don't know, let's make some water come out the end here. Let's make a little hole. There we go. We'll make a well. Let's put a bucket in there. Well, it's not really what I mean. We're not going to put a bucket in there. We're just going to put some... There we go. There's our well. Let's do a controller that's going to check the state of this thing and play some water particles coming out of that pipe. And then what you could do is you could say, hey, if you're near this pipe with a bucket, we will swap your bucket into a bucket of water. That'd be pretty cool. We won't do that now because this is going to be long enough already. So let's say this is controller, I call it water. We're doing something based on the state. What do we want to do? We want to come down a bit and we want to go in the negative X a bit and play some particles. Okay. So we will execute as, we'll do as because I want to reference its score. So as any entity, type equals interaction, tag equals valve input at S unless. Now what we could do is we could put score equals in here, but then if it doesn't have a score, this won't be working. This will check whether its score is null as well. That's the advantage of doing it this way. Unless score yourself state matches, I don't know, 0, run particle falling water. So what did we say? Negative X, 0.5, half a block, and we want to come down a bit, 0.2. That seems alright, yeah. Okay, we'll have very, very little thin stream, let's go 0.01. Let's just do the same again for ease, 0.01. No speed, let's say 10 particles. Okay, done, turn that on. Okay, it's coming out. Well, maybe we should change it slightly. What? A little bit this way and a little bit down. Okay, let's say 0.55. Let's just put a 2 on there as well. Why not? That looks so much better. Okay, there we go. We've got some water coming out of our tap. Well, we can see we've got it the wrong way round because I think up should be open. But I mean, it's your choice. All you have to do is just change what state you're checking for. So let's say unless it matches 1. There we go. Now down is closed and up is open. And let's just put a sign on it for no reason. Okay, let's get rid of that. I like it. I think I like it a lot. I think though, it'd be nice if it had some sort of indicator on it. Right, we are done. We are basically finished, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little indicator on the top. Because I think that'd be nice. So you could have like a red or a green. Let's do that. So if we need an indicator, we are going to need another passenger. So let's get our passenger template. And we'll copy that. Copy. Let's kill the one we've got. In fact, we'll have to remember to change this because we're adding an extra passenger, so the limit will now be 7. So let's change that now. So our controller to remove now has to get rid of the extra passenger we're just about to add. So let's go. We want to stay inside passengers. So that should be there. There's an extra passenger. Let's swap those two for our passenger template. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Don't do things live. Okay, valve. What should we? Let's say light. I don't know if it's really going to be a light, but it's going to be a block display. Yeah. Let's say green wool or green concrete powder might be a nice texture. Green concrete powder. Transformation. Well, we don't. It's going to be centered, and it's going to be north, so we don't need any rotation. We're going to have to guess where we want it. Let's say we want it tiny, 0.1 on the X and Z. What about the Y? Let's just do 0.1 on everything and see what we end up with. So 0.1 X, Y, Z. Now if we want it centered, half of 0.1 is 0.05. So 0.05, add the minus sign. For the Z, same again. Half of 0.1 is 0.05. Add the minus sign. How on earth? Well, let's just do 0.5 and see where that appears. Okay. F3D. I've got a screenshot by mistake. Oh, well, there's our little light. He's a bit too high. We want to plug it into the top there. Okay. And that worked. So let's bring him down a little bit. So that was 0.5. Let's bring him down 0.35. Okay, so that's exactly the same height as that. So we've got that evil Z fighting. All we have to do then is lift him up a little bit. Do we want a little nubbin? Let's lift him up to 0.7 maybe. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. We've got a little nub. Maybe you don't want the nub. You could just lift it up a little bit less. Okay. So green. Now we've got it green. Green is on. Obviously, if we change it, it doesn't change yet. Oh. Okay, we've got a problem with our state though. State matches 0. That's off. That's on. That seems alright. That's off. That's on. We've got a problem when we do a default. So that should be on. Seems, yeah. That's off. Okay, that's working. Right, when we change it on and off, we want to change its light. So let's do that. We can just tag these commands onto the end. That would be absolutely fine. If you wanted to, you could say, put the two state changing commands next to each other. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to get this check me removal. Control middle mouse. Get a copy of it. Bosh. Right. So if we are changing the state, let's copy the other state change so we don't have to write the whole thing out again. Execute as type interaction tag equals not locked tag equals check me scores equals state 1. Yes. As type equals, well, that's going to be an item display, but we'll keep this anyway. Tag equals valve handle. Do you know what? I think we're going to go all the way up to data merge here, all the way up to where we've got transformation. Let's take all of that. Copy. Paste it all in. Now let's make some changes. Execute at the interaction that isn't locked, that wants to be checked, that has a score of state 0. That's all fine. Type equals, well, our little light was a block display. And we called it, I think we called it valve light, didn't we? Limit 1, sort nearest, data merge. What are we going to merge? I just want to change its block state. Block state, name, red concrete powder. Why not? Okay. Done. Let's copy that. Paste it down. Let's change that back to 1, 2, 3 green. And we are looking for state equals 1. Okay. Let's get you, control the mouse, pop you back on the end. That's our remove checkmate. Always best to start with a fresh one, so let's get rid of you. Get ourselves a fresh one. It's green. Now it's red. We've sort of done it the wrong way round. We've got up as off and down as on. It doesn't really matter. I think I might prefer it the other way around. Because I get the feeling that as it comes down, it's like it's pushing the pin or it's pushing something down to block the pipe. So to me, that as off makes more sense. Although it is now in line, which seems to imply that that's open. I think it's personal preference. Shall we change it? let's change it. I'm going to change it so down is off. Okay, so we want to summon it with a red piece of concrete. So we want to summon it with red. Oh, I've just eaten away at the floor. Look at that. So we've got it summoned with red, F3D. So that should be off. So you shouldn't be pouring water now. So we'll change this to a 1. It doesn't have anything at the moment. So let's check. If we go up, that should be on. We go down, that's off. But we need to switch our little things around. We won't move the order. We'll just change the if you equal 1, and we'll change you to if you equal 0. Let's experiment. On, off, on. I like the addition of the little light. Wow, little indicator. I find this very satisfying. I could do that a lot. I'm waffling. We've done a lot of waffling now. Okay, there we go. We've got a little valve that we can turn on and off, and then we can check its state to do something else. You used to be able to set water levels. I'll show you. If we do set block, the coordinates I'm looking at, water, you used to be able to do level equals. And you could see how it had the level there? It was halfway down the block. Almost at the bottom of the block. Well, and what you could do is you could say set level to like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you could make the water drain, and it looked really good. It looked like water draining out of like a Zelda dungeon or something. But unfortunately, they've changed it now. So when you set the block with the water level, it checks the blocks around it. And if there isn't a block with a corresponding level or a level that it likes, it just goes, oh, I'm going then, which is really a shame. And you can't do it with block displays either. Block displays won't display water or anything. So you can't have a nice sort of rising, lowering water level, because I thought that would be pretty cool. You turn this on and slowly this water actually rises up. I mean, yeah, you could set block, a whole water block one at a time. That's about your only choice. Or maybe you could have a text display background, which was blue, and just raise that up slowly. I think it'd look a bit weird though. There we go. That's a bit of extra waffling for you just for fun. Let's end this now. Have a nice day. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.